Hey everyone, welcome back to CCTT. This is a continuation of a video I put out a few days ago with regard to the Thermaltake Tower 250. This is the snow edition. Now in the build of this, there was a lot of information that was provided. One of the things that I'm still unable to do is get an adapter that works. It's got to be female, that works for the motherboard header. And then that would allow me to connect directly into the back of the I/O, taking the USB-C back in through and porting it to the front panel. And so I'm still working on trying to find a solution for that because the motherboard does not actually have a header. And so for the most part, an individual is going to have to use all their lines inside. But other than that, all of the other USB does work properly. This build was a really good one. And again, I want to thank Jay and Chloe for picking this one up. Jay got it for his daughter, Chloe, and so Chloe's pretty excited. She gets a brand new computer, and this is going to be playing essentially Roblox and I believe Fortnite. So those two games will be what this one is to easily handle that. Now there is a debate on AM4 versus AM5 and whether or not you need to move to that. That debate is actually nuanced because there's actually three competitors that are inside of this race towards the end game of being dominant inside of this CPU race. And really it is a race that is now being faced with ARM and x86. x86 being what everyone knows with Windows, but Windows has now shifted over to exploring ARM, which is a different architecture and different architecture for not only the coding but also ARM is different inside of the actual hardware for the CPUs. NVIDIA has now prepared their, I believe it's called the N1X chip, and so that will, if at some point, come out. And so the AM4 platform is actually a really good platform to hold off because the GPUs will always be used no matter what platform ends up being the dominant one that everyone progresses to. Intel also has Nova Lake coming out here in the near future, and so that's another thing to consider before you decide to buy into another AMD platform. Just hold off for a year, see what happens. Hopefully price of RAM will go down. We do know that Nova Lake is likely to use, well, actually will use DDR5. AM5 will continue on probably we're roughly into 2028, maybe 29. And so there's no off-ramp for that. Moreover, x86 is still going to be, at least for the future, will be used inside of the AM platforms. So that leaves the outlier, which is NVIDIA, and whether or not they can convince the world that it's time to change over to ARM and what that will look like. One thing we do know is that NVIDIA is not going to change GPUs. So those GPUs, this GPU is probably going to survive all the way into probably 2030, 2032. Especially as we get better with frame generation. This has been a really good build, and I was excited to do it. I'm excited now that it's going to have a great home. There is a few special features on this. As you can see, Chloe's name pops up a few times on the display because you can actually adjust and manipulate that text language within the Thermalright software that comes with this particular AIO. And so that software allows you to manipulate the script on top. They do have templates that fit on top, so you can have, for example, your CPU temps, GPU temps, and then megahertz that are being used, usage. You can also put your, I think there's one in here that shows you can have time on it. So you have a lot of variety. The other thing about the Thermalright software is it's essentially a slideshow, and so when you click on the slideshow, you can select which one of these images that you have either created or the stock images, and it'll just rotate through it. That's actually a neat feature. And so another thing is, and you won't see it on here, but I've created, using Claude, I created a background image that would look much like Steam's wallpaper engine, and it just has a single thing. It's got like a lava lamp. And so Chloe's name is on the desktop, and there's a lava lamps going on, and it's got, if you look on one of these displays they have, it's kind of got a neon looking grid on it, and so I recreated that in Claude. a one-of-a-kind. That software is only on this computer. It requires a lot of upfront making sure the directories are correct and a few other security issues that you need to resolve while running it. But for the most part, it turned out really good. So when Chloe turns it on, she can click on an icon on the desktop, and that icon will then take her to what we call Neon Wall. That's her program, and it's designed specifically for her. I will not put it on anyone else's desktop. And so she's got basically one-of-a-kind computer. These are the things that local builders can provide for their clients, and they can take time to dedicate. I've already pre-installed Windows, but I've also loaded it, made sure all of the drivers are on it, and all the bloat that would normally come with Windows is completely off. The other thing is I've been able to preload the games that she'll want to play, and I've offloaded all the other ones that she won't play. And so those things are really nice if you get a local builder that knows what they're doing and are looking out for their clients. We'll drop this off. I'll do a news update here very soon, and it will deal specifically with the AM4, AM5 that is right now raging in the back alleys of all the forums and YouTube. And I think it's got a lot of momentum because we are dealing with a significant increase in RAM prices, and it doesn't look like they're going to go down anytime soon, and AI doesn't seem like it's going to cool off in any way either. So I am looking forward to doing the black version of this. It'll be a midnight edition, and I have one more computer build before I actually start moving into AI. We'll build a new AI system. I don't have the parts with me here, but I do have them inside of the other room. So that's going to be an interesting build. That'll be a server-like AI type setup. And I do have two K80s, and we're going to try running those. I know they're old architecture, really old architecture, but there has been some promise in some of the local LLMs that have been able to take advantage of that. And I'm also looking out for a 3090, and I'll pop it in 24 gigs of RAM where I can't run the K80s. For some of the newer AIs, I'll do that. Chloe, I hope you enjoy this. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. CCTT out.